What was your worst, "oh fuck, I am actually gonna die" moment? I was 15 and walking across a railroad bridge over a creek when I heard the train coming from around the curve. The bridge was not wide enough to stand to the side. I ran back the way I came as fast as I could, with the train coming from behind. The railroad ties were the perfect length for my stride. As I got near the embankment, the ties suddenly became further apart and I tripped, banging my shin, and I couldn't get back up. I crawled the last 30 feet on my hands and knees, rolling off the track at the earliest point possible. A solid 90 seconds later, the train came by. I had lots more time than I feared, but I was terrified during the run. The calendar said, "Don't go out." We should have listened. When we moved into our new house, there was a calendar on the wall. 3 dates were circled: February 6th, June 19th, September 21st. Beneath each one, written faintly in red, "Don't go out." Toby, my husband, couldn't let it go. He asked the neighbors. They all had the same calendar, and every single one said the same thing: never mention it again. As February 6th approached, Toby set up a neighborhood watch. We stayed in all day, watching from the window. The street was silent, still. Then, Mr. Hudson stepped outside. He lit a cigarette, took a drag, and vanished. Not walked away, not hid, vanished. And then reappeared, like he'd never left. The next day, we went to ask them what happened. Mr. Hudson waved. Mrs. Hudson smiled too wide. But when she sent him to turn off the stove, she leaned close and whispered, "The whispers'll get you. Leave before they do." That night, their lights flickered for minutes. Then nothing. Mrs. Hudson was gone. Police said she never existed, that Mr. Hudson had always lived alone. We tried to leave. We really tried. But the whispers started. Only Toby could hear them. They told him to go outside, said something wonderful was waiting. On June 19th, he did. He flickered, just like Mr. Hudson, and then he came back, smiling. But this time, his smile didn't reach his eyes. The one day I woke up late may have saved my life. One day, when I was an elementary schooler, I think probably 3rd or 4th grade, I was awoken by my mom in a rush. She had overslept, and since she always woke me up in the morning, this meant that I too overslept, and now there was just no way I was going to be ready for school early enough to get on the school bus. My school started at 8 a.m., and my bus pickup time was 7 a.m., but it was already like 6:40 or something, and I was still in my pajamas and hadn't even had breakfast yet. So Mom decided that today, we would just tell the bus driver to go on ahead, and she would take me to school, which would give me plenty of time to get ready. So I'm sitting there at the dining room table eating breakfast, still in my pajamas, and it's now about 6:50. We hear the bus pull up, about 10 minutes earlier than usual. My mom peeks her head out of the door into the foggy morning and waves the bus on. She closes the door and comes back inside, but the bus doesn't pull away. There's a knock at the door, and Mom opens it to find a man in a bus driver uniform. He explains that he's a substitute driver, because the regular driver called in sick. He says he knows he's a few minutes early, since he wanted to get an early start on the route since he didn't know it well. Mom explains to him that she was going to take me to school since we woke up late. He gets visibly upset, and says that he can wait a few minutes since he's already running ahead of schedule. My mom insists that no, I won't be ready to go in a few minutes, and tells him to go on ahead. He seemed angry about this, but turned around and got back in the bus and left. I returned to eating my breakfast and still don't have my school clothes on at this point. But at 7 a.m. sharp, another bus pulls up to my house. Mom thinks this is weird and goes outside to talk to them. She comes back inside looking terrified, but doesn't really say anything about it and tells me to finish getting ready for school. At the time, I didn't know what happened, but Mom would end up telling me a few years later. When she went to this second bus, she found that it was being driven by my regular bus driver, and it was full of all the other kids that are usually on the route. The other bus was empty, by the way. Mom asks the driver about the substitute driver and about him calling in sick. "I never called in sick. There is no substitute driver on my route," he says. The driver immediately called dispatch in a panic and told my mom to go inside and call the police, which she did, without me knowing, and report this incident. There was absolutely no one doing my driver's route that day. Whoever this was most likely a kidnapper who had targeted me. I never heard anything about it again, not even if someone else had ended up being picked up by this mysterious fake bus driver. But chances are, had I gotten on that bus, I would have never made it to school or back home.